Hello! Not so far ago, Campfire Audio announced two new pretty affordable models. Of course, affordable at scale of Campfire Audio. They announced a model named Satsuma with price $200. It's a single balanced armatures. And also they announced single dynamic driver model Honeydew that sold for $250. They decided to distinguish them from the previous lineup, and they even changed the namings. Instead of stellar names, now these two models have, if I understand right, it's the name of some exotic fruits, so I'm not a fan of such changes, I'm a fan of consistency. Anyway, Satsuma is a single balanced armature in-ear monitors. Now they are done in new plastic shells with metal spouts. Here utilized the signature internal 3D structure and the special vented balanced armature. They developed new cable, so model seems to be really promising. What it gives for this $200, let's find out. Package is traditional for the Campfire Audio, a bit different approach to the design, but similar way of packing, now with nice minty green color. So I moved the seal from here to here. It opens like a desert box, and inside there is a nice bright orange. So minty green and orange combination of colors looks fancy. As usual, inside there is a small manual and warranty card. So do they have technical specifications in the manual? Yes. So 94 decibels at 67 millivolts RMS. So they still use their inverted type of measurement. 46 ohms of impedance, so you can see that impedance is pretty high, but model itself is really sensitive, so no need in delivering tons of power. 5 Hz, 18 kHz, so you can see they decided not to do super extended treble, but at the same time, you know, these figures are close to more realistic. I think they could put here 25, 60 kHz, but they are close to general truth. Anyway, nice fabric pouch, minty green this time. Actually not minty, it's more of grass green. And inside there is earpieces themselves and signature black storage pouch. So I will remove the stuff that I don't need. And two more pouches here. Inside you'll also get cleaning tool as usual and a short leaflet about final audio type E tips as usual. Campfire Audio use them, and it's a good sign that they decided not to save cost. So you'll get 3 pair of foam tips, 3 pair of regular black single flange silicone tips. So we'll put it aside. And also you'll get 5 pair of this final audio tips, so still I think that it's one of the best tips available. And of course signature pin. So in terms of accessory set, everything is done on the traditional level for the Campfire Audio. And here are earpieces themselves. 2 Velcro stripes to organize cables, and here they are. The most lightweight model in the company's history. It's even a bit more lightweight than traditional in-ear monitors made of plastic. Lightweight with bright vivid orange color. Some people like the new design, others don't like. For me, you know, it's okay. I'm not a fan of orange color, but from other hand, I don't care about the color at all. They are in my ears and I won't see them. Build quality is nice, edges are smooth, so wearing comfort is also nice. Small size helps achieving a better fit for small ears, and this bright color probably makes them a great gift to your significant ones. And like 99% of my audience is male, so vast majority of us have females, significant others, but of course not everyone, but like it's just statistics, so bigger part. And metal spouts, as usual, done on the traditional level for the Campfire Audio, with nice and interesting grills, and they have proper angle, of course, going nicely into ears, average length, and gives average sound isolation. There is a lip for holding the tips, protective grill, and it holds tips pretty well, so in all aspects of design they are done nicely. And cable is made replaceable as usual. Here used MMCX connectors, so everything is traditional here, pretty clicky and holding well. And they developed new cable for these earphones based on their smoky lids, but more lightweight, and they named this cable Smoky Light. It's like, you know, normal cable, pretty soft, pretty good in terms of ergonomics, low microphonics effect, not getting hard when it's cold outside. It doesn't look like that audiophilic rope that sometimes we can see, but it's pretty reliable, durable, soft, comfortable, so in this aspect I think it's a pretty good cable. So to summarize all this stuff in terms of exterior, design, accessory set and other things, everything is done on the traditional level for the Campfire Audio. And of course about the sound, I gave them traditional 40 hours of burn-in, but they didn't change sound much. Balanced armatures rarely change sound during the burn-in process, so not much sense in spending time burning them in. More important is to find the proper fitting tips that will provide the best isolation. Let's have a player on the table, and it will be iBass or DX300, and let's talk about the sound. So, Campfire Audio, of course, is a company that never does anything random. They never release sound like, okay, what we've got, let's put 6 balanced armatures and see what it gives. No, they set clear goals, and they achieve it by tuning, by experiments, by trial and error, but they achieve goals. And once they've decided to release 2 models simultaneously with a really similar price, but one uses balanced armatures and one uses dynamic drivers, it's pretty obvious that they will push the signature sides of drivers, maybe not to the maximum, but they definitely will leverage it. And indeed they decided to make this model balanced armature one and with the sound that you can expect, but at the same time they of course never were fans of natural monitoring dry sound, so here they also tuned this balanced armature a bit on the more on the musical side. The Satsuma definitely built on top of the Comet, but shifted a bit more towards the clarity and towards resolution. More about comparisons closer to the end of the video, but now let's talk about the sound step by step. So, bass is slightly accented, but main accent is done on the mid bass. Deeper layers of bass are present, but they're not dominating, so it's definitely not the model for those who need super impactful or deep bass. Spoiler, Honeydew is, so Honeydew will be next, one of my next reviews, and okay, it's a bassy model. Anyway, Satsuma is a model for those who need clarity, resolution, detalization, but at the same time, of course, they not sound too dry, too anemic, too lightweight, so they have normal weight, but at the same time, of course, the bass is still not trying to overpower you with weight. Accent is not on the low frequencies is not big, it's just to compensate our hearing and to add a bit of additional weight to the lows and lower mids. This model has a really good note thickness, and they are really good in representing that timbre-rich instrument that goes to the low frequencies domain. All that wood resonance, strings and other stuff that I always mention. They are pretty nice with electronic music and pop music, but of course for such genres, if you have a lot of them in your media library, you'll definitely prefer Honeydew Brother. And as an example for the low frequencies, I've got Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, The Great Summit, and track in a mellow tone, one of the classical jazz standards, and they have nice acoustic bass. Here it's not dominating in the record, and some models are losing this acoustic bass, but here this Satsuma played nicely with all nuances and details, but at the same time not pushing it too forward. Mids can be divided into two parts. Lower part is a bit on the warmer side, but still has a nice resolution, with a slight hint of additional weight, but not overweighted, not bloated or too muddy. And upper mids is a bit boosted, not overdone, but slightly boosted to add more clarity, to add more vibrance and presence. So you know, it's a classical fun-tuned mid, so more weight to the male vocals, more crispness and clarity to the female ones, bit more weight to the percussion instruments, to low drums and other stuff, and bit more clarity for the distorted guitars and percussion, all that stuff. Imaginary stage is about average, maybe slightly above average, but not huge, but it's common for the single balanced armature without boosted treble. And they don't have boosted treble, so pretty comfortable sound, at least for me. And as an example for the mid frequencies, it's Tina Turner Goldeneye, emotional track built around the vocal, and this earphones delivers it really nicely in a really impressive way, and all that orchestra part that is typical for the James Bond soundtracks is also represented and played nicely with good amount of details. This model is not super critical for the quality of records because they won't highlight the issues, but really poorly recorded stuff is better to avoid because it's just won't show the full potential of this model. And treble here is done in a comfortable way. They have slight boost in the mid treble, but not too much, not too overdone. They have slightly above average extension, but not super extended. Definitely not a model for those who like boosted and accented treble, so it's just fairly balanced, you know, typical treble for the single balanced armature. Clean, crisp, with fast attacks and decays, a bit lacking weight, but with pretty nice overtone saturation, so clean, crisp, airy, all that words can be applied here. As an example for the treble, I prepared Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits, that signature introduction and really nice vocal. Both goes to the treble area, but at the same time not over-dominating, and this model plays it nicely with good amount of small nuances, but at the same time not over-boosting that. In terms of pairings, they are pretty universal, they plays nicely with almost any player, but of course keep in mind that they are sensitive to their own coloration of the player. They have a good resolution, of course not overdoing that, but they are resolving it, still the balanced armatures, and you'll get a bit of player's signature sound with this model. Not much sense in using them with smartphones or something like that, but actually Mellow Audio released their own portable digital tonal converter pilot that I will review soon too, and they gives a really nice pairing together. Speaking about the compression, so the most obvious compression is a Comet, and surprisingly they have a pretty similar signature, but they also have a difference. Comet is a bit more weighty and a bit tighter and impactful. They are a bit closer to the dynamic drivers, while this model is shifted a bit towards two balanced armatures with a bit more focus on the micro detalization, a bit less bass, but at the same time a bit more resolution. So You know, I'm probably still a fan of Comets, especially with the pure silver lids. It's one of the models that for me stands aside from the general competition because they don't remind me anything else. I don't know, let's say what models I can recall. NF Audio NM2, for example, they are more natural, more focused on the micro contrast, sounding drier, brighter, and so on. Big U EYZ Spring, bit more focus on the micro detalization on the mids, bit more highlighted emotions, bit more linear signature, so emotional and more linear. FIO FH3 is opposite model in terms of sound, more bass, more deeper layers of bass, so more dynamic driver in low frequencies, and a bit more focus on the micro detalization on mids and bit brighter treble, so more V-shaped signature, and more demonstrating the difference between dynamic drivers and balanced armatures. So, if you need some more comparisons, of course, feel free to ask. Just few models that I recalled. And to summarize everything, if you're looking for the balanced armatures, but at the same time not too balanced armatures with not too balanced armature-ish sound, without over-focusing micro contrast, if you want musical representation, but at the same time not that typical balanced armature warm sound that many models create, but more balanced and linear model, it's a really good offer, especially if you're a fan of mid frequencies and uncolored sounds, if you listen to music that doesn't require something boosted, something forced, and so on. So Campfire Audio created two really interesting models, and today I told about one of them. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day.